Oh,
Boom headshot! Boom headshot! Boom headshot!
In today's video, I'm going to teach you exactly how to one-shot Boss 2 using the Negotiator build. So first of all, the team composition is going to consist of 4 Negotiator builds, 2 regular DPS builds, 1 skill build, and 1 healer. The Negotiator build, you're going to be running weapon damage and headshot damage on the Negotiator Dilemma pieces, and you're going to run headshot mods as well. You're going to run Sacrifice on your chest and the Dodge City Gunslinger holster. For weapons, you can use any rifle. I prefer the M1A. And then you're going to combine that with the named SMG called the Grudge. If you didn't have one of those, you could just use a regular SMG as long as it has the Vindictive buff. For the skill build, we're going to be running, really, it's honestly any skill build as long as you have a Coyote's Mask to proc the long buff, as well as you need a chest piece that has Overwatch. Now, as you can see by this map, I'm going to show you, you need the 2 DPS builds. You can have one on the far side of A as well as the far side of C. Negotiator Dilemma builds, you're going to position one on the back side of A, the back side of C. One is also going to be sitting on B, and one is going to be going inside of the B airlock. The skill build can start also on B, and he's going to end up rotating to A. I'll talk about that in a minute. And the healer is going to start upstairs in the control room. So once everybody's in position, you're going to spawn the boss like normal. So the Negotiator Dilemma player that's in the B airlock, the healer upstairs is going to let him in. He's going to go inside. He's going to interpret the code to the healer upstairs. The healer in turn is going to relay that to the corresponding box outside. So the player with the corresponding code is going to shoot it, thus spawning the boss. Once the boss is spawned, all the Negotiator Dilemma folks, as well as the DPS player from A, are going to rotate to the B airlock. The skill build player that was sitting on B is now going to rotate to the back side of A. And the DPS player on C honestly doesn't really matter what he does. He can rotate to the back of C to help clear any ads that come out of B. And the healer is going to stay upstairs. So once everybody's collapsed inside of the B airlock, the healer is going to let them in, as well as the player that spawned the boss is going to come out of the heat chamber and join the rest of the players inside of the B airlock. So now you should have 5 players inside of the B airlock. The healer is going to hold that button to hold the door in the up position, so those 5 players can do DPS on the boss. Now those players want to DPS the boss down to just a little bit over 4 bars. Now you don't want to go below 4 bars just quite yet, because as soon as you do that, the boss is going to run to the turret and he's going to do an animation and he's going to heal to full. So for now, we're just going to DPS him just above 4 bars. Once we get to that point, everyone's going to stop shooting, and we're going to wait for the boss to throw his 3rd grenade, which is going to crack the glass upstairs. And at pretty much the exact same time, this is when the ads spawn upstairs. So as soon as the boss breaks the glass, everyone's going to quickly shoot the boss with their SMG, which has Vindictive. They need to crit, which is going to refresh the Negotiator buff. And then they're all going to be let out of the B airlock, the Negotiator Dilemma folks. And the DPS player, he could actually go inside and just DPS the boss just a little bit more, just to make sure at this point that the boss is well below the 4 bars. This player also, after the boss dies, is going to grenade the boss to cancel the boss's wipe animation. So once the Negotiator Dilemma players have been let out of the B airlock, they're going to listen for the healer upstairs to call which side those ads spawn. They're going to either spawn on the A side or the C side. Once the healer sees which side those NPCs have spawned, he's going to relay that to the Negotiator players, and they're going to run to the corresponding side. Preferably it's A, since A is a lot closer. But either way, they're going to run to that side. And as they're running upstairs, the healer needs to overcharge. And one of the negotiator players needs to be running an EMP. He's going to charge up that EMP and then let it go. The EMP needs to be in range of that purple NPC that's going to be trying to cut power. And the reason you EMP that NPC is because you want to apply a status effect, which the EMP is the easiest one to do as you're running upstairs. Because once you've applied that status effect, all the 4 of the negotiator players are running that SMG, which is running the perfectly vindictive. And once they kill that purple with their SMG, it's going to give them the perfectly vindictive buff, which is going to grant them an additional 18% crit chance. And the reason we're trying to stack so much crit chance is because we want to be at crit cap or above, because we want to have the greatest chance of critting on the chungy that we're about to shoot. So the only way the negotiator set works is if you crit, that damage will transfer to what you've previously marked, which in this case was the boss. So as we're running upstairs, we EMP the purple, we quickly kill it with an SMG, and then we swap to our pistols, Achilles the chungy, which is going to mark him, and then everyone is going to take a pistol shot at a pre-designated spot on the chungy to break his armor and transfer, hopefully, any crit, whatever damage we do that's a crit, will transfer to the boss, since we've already marked the boss with the negotiator set. While they're also running upstairs, the healer that previously did an overcharge, he's also going to start shooting the boss with a Scorpio. This is going to proc opportunistic, as well as the Scorpio buff, which is going to make your shot do even more damage. And the skill build player that was downstairs, he's going to, as soon as he rotates to A, he's going to shoot the ads that come out of A, the far side of A, because when those ads spawn, they're further than 25 meters, which is going to proc the long buff of the Coyote Mask, thus giving the group an additional 25% crit chance. And he's also going to stay in cover, which will also proc the Overwatch buff. So by the time everybody runs upstairs and they kill that purple NPC and the Achilles and take a shot on the boss, they're going to have a multitude of buffs. They're going to have tactical links from their specialization. They can have future initiative from the healer, opportunistic and Scorpio buff from the healer. They're going to have perfect vindictive from the named SMG. They're going to have the long buff from the Coyote Mask. They're going to have Overwatch from that skill player, and they're going to have a fully charged gunslinger pistol. So by the time you take a pistol shot on that chungy, if you crit and shoot on the head, you can hit for over 150 million, as I showed in the intro of this video. That's going to one-shot the chungy, or the boss. The boss, I estimate, has about 125 million hit points at 4 bars. It's give or take right around there, so it's more than enough to one-tap it. After you one-tap the boss, you just got to remember to quickly wipe, because that boss will do like a reanimation and come back to life, and he'll be at full health. So it's important after you successfully one-tap him to wipe, and that easiest way to do that is just to have everyone run a sticky and just suicide. Without further ado, here's an unedited clip of a run that we recently did.
We could get sub 130 on that transition
Pressing
thanks
B.
to our suicide.
Opening B. Opening B.
Hostile radio intercepted.
Lieutenant Gray failed me.
Three.
Empty hook.
They don't stand a chance against me.
Empty hook.
Empty hook.
Guys, hello?
Yeah, sorry, Mangs. Pressed the wrong button there.
Welcome to my world, motherfuckers.
Door in.
Opening.
Slow down.
Multiple hostiles inbound.
Okay, it's gonna be a little later than normal.
Okay.
Refresh. A.
Overcharge. Nice
Why?
one tap.
146 mil.
I haven't crit like the last 4 times or so.